We are getting ready to go to the mobile home and get some work done. Wanted to show you guys a little tool flex here. This is a new tool that I've been testing out and kind of enjoying to help keep us organized. So I wanted to share it. And I know it just looks like a toolbox. This is actually my battery charger. So inside here is a toolbox with a built-in battery charger. I got 2 batteries on here that I already charged. It's pretty neat. I picked this up because, well, picture this. Every time we went to the mobile home, we'd be walking out the door like this. Like, hey, do you got the batteries? And it was becoming a hassle to transport all the batteries in and out of the bus. And I know we could have got like a little tool bag or something. But then in our house, we had to keep multiple chargers. We usually had like 2 or 3 chargers plugged in. And we keep them in our entryway. And it's not pleasant. We have cords all over the floor. And it just doesn't look good. And so, to make our life easier, because we literally transport these batteries daily. I'm not saying this is a good investment for the occasional DIYer, but we're transporting in and out daily. I decided to get this charger battery holder, and it's been really cool because I can just go in the house and it has a cord back here and I just plug it right in, and it's a lot neater. There's less cords, there's less mess. Right on the top of it, there's lights here that tell me when the batteries are done charging, and you can charge it just with it closed like that. And there's actually a built-in fan inside there that pulls air through the toolbox to keep it cool while it's charging so that they don't overheat. The fan is a little bit noisy, but it only runs while they're charging. As soon as they're done charging, it shuts off. So it's pretty handy, and that has made things a lot more convenient when we go over to the mobile home, and eventually when we have the power more turned on in there, I can keep this plugged in at the home and charge the batteries while we're working, which will be very convenient. In fact, I could plug this in the bus, but I had unhooked my inverter, so I got to get back on that. We're always building up our tool stockpile and trying to make things a little more easy on ourselves. I also like that being in a toolbox, instead of having batteries and chargers laying all over the floor, it actually not only makes it look neater, but it protects the chargers because they're in the bottom inside the lid. And my DeWalt chargers in the house, they're always getting dusty, and it gets dusty right on the top of the contacts and everything where the batteries plug in. I just never liked that. So this keeps everything clean. That's all. So I came here yesterday to get some upgrades and changes done on our wiring system. So let me show you what we did yesterday. So previously we were working on roughing in our electrical, and we got all the sealing done, but today I'm going to be changing a little bit and doing some upgrades. Since that last wiring job, I decided that I could step up this installation and do it a little more proper. And what I mean is, well, we decided we're going to do some recessed lighting in this house. There really is a difference between wiring in new work recessed lighting versus old work recessed lighting. Since we're doing new work, it makes sense to install one of these. I was really installing my wiring as if it was old work, but this is the better way to go. So what this is a recessed lighting mounting frame. And what we do is we can hook this in the ceiling where we want our recessed lighting to be. And now this is made for canless recessed lighting, the kind that just snap in. You drill a hole in your ceiling and you snap it in there. Well, and you might wonder why you need this if you can do it without it, but this really helps you because it gives your light something more firm to hook to, especially if you're going to be doing drywall, because then it's not just hanging on the drywall, it actually has a metal frame underneath it. And since we're going to be using Halo brand, this works with the Halo mounting for their junction boxes, the drivers for the lights. So you know the light is an LED, it clips in, it has a wire that goes to a metal box. Well, that metal box can clip right onto this frame. It holds that secure. And that's going to be a lot easier than trying to mount it up here on these little tiny trusses. And what it does is it makes it easier to replace. If the light ever burns out, you can snap it out, and there's thumb screws in here, and I could actually unscrew the mounting, the driver, the junction box, and pull it down through, and I can replace it as needed. It's just a better system, and I'm going to be installing these, so I might have to do a little bit of reworking of the wiring, but all the wiring is fine. It just might have to be out of the way of these brackets. So I'm going to start working on that, just getting one installed, then I'll show you. Maybe we'll do a few more today. So I have to redo a couple of these wire staples. I'm pulling these out of the way just because these brackets are in the way. So we're gonna have to rework those, no big deal. I always stand up slowly. There, let go. Now we just got to get these set to where we want them exactly this way on the ceiling. So that was yesterday. I didn't get much filming done, but I went ahead and installed all these frames in the ceiling where the lights should be. Boy, these blend in, but there's one right there. There's one right there. A couple over on the other end. Got them installed all throughout the house. They are really easy to install. You guys get the concept. These arms slide in and out to adjust for the width of your joist opening. And while they do have these nails that you can just nail in, I didn't end up using them. I found that I did use them on this one. And you can see I ended up mangling this all up because I pried it back out because I had to move it. And that's why I stopped using the nails. These nails, once you nail them in, you're not pulling them out. So that made repositioning very difficult. And on our little trusses, can you imagine nailing into these? They're so flimsy. They just bounce all around. It makes it really hard to nail. So what I did was I just used some of these other holes and I just screwed them in. Screws are so much easier for me to work with. And now you can see up here, these little thumb screws. Well, when you install these canless lights, they come with the light fixture and a junction box. This is the driver for the LEDs. This is what controls it. We have different settings on here for light tone and everything. Well, those thumb screws hold this box. They're designed for those little brackets right here, and we can mount these right to the metal frames. I already did 3 of them. We're gonna keep going and get more of them done. So basically, right in the middle of the light, we just unscrew this and pull it apart. We're only installing this today. We're gonna put this back in the box. So we just set this up here and tighten up those thumb screws. And now, this is basically, after we wire it, it's gonna be ready to plug in our light fixture right here, pop it into the ceiling. And the junction box is mounted securely to the metal frame, to the wood. It's gonna be a little hard to see, but I can flip this little door down. And have access to the wires right here. Let me just pop that up. We're gonna be using both slots here. Let's get these wires positioned so I can strip them the right length. All right guys, I'm just getting these wires all tidied up. There's not much room to work with in here, but it'll work. There it is. Happy with that. That light is done. Okay, let me see what we got. I tend to strip my wires back. I tend to leave a little more wire in my boxes than a lot of people do. I try to go a hair over what's the minimum. A lot of people just cut their wires too short because they don't want packed boxes, but I'd rather have more wire than less. As long as it's not too overcrowded, that could be dangerous. You don't want it to be crammed in and getting damaged or overheating. Right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna pull all this slack. I don't know why I ended up with so much slack here.
I don't either.
But I'm gonna pull it all down the wall and leave it at the switch box instead of cutting it up here. Because you never know.
Yep.
Whew. Okay, I think that's done. I had to take up some wire slack because we redid it. I moved it, I think I both had them stapled on this side, but I moved this one to this side and it just saved a lot of wire. Or wasted a lot of wire, either way you want to look at it. So, I like a little bit of order, so I try to sort out my wires first into groups of where they flow the most naturally. And I'll put this one behind here.
Do you want the framing square?
Yeah. Let me just put the ground in there first. Push that in the back. And while I could snip my wires a little bit shorter and have a more roomy box in here, that could come back to hurt me later on if I need to change something, install a different light. There's all the wires nice and neat in there. I mean, honestly, it's not that bad. It looks perfect. Close that up. That one is done. Make sure my thumb screws are tight. Ooh, listen to that. I hope it's not doing that inside our ceiling. It's just the door shaking. It's a little bit rattly. I can fix that if I need to. We'll worry about that later. And you can really see how this not only neatens up the job, we get to do all of our wiring now straight to the box. It makes hooking the lights up easier later. We don't have to worry about anything. It's done. It just makes putting the holes in the ceiling a little more challenging. If we were doing a drywall ceiling, you could use a zip tool to just cut those out right through the around the middle opening. We will not be using drywall on this ceiling though. I actually had the lights in this house a lot, not a lot. Over here we had them in a lot different position. We changed those, I'll show those in a minute, but we really fine-tuned these from where the original plan was, because on our ceiling, we're gonna be doing a kind of traditional trailer ceiling, and you will see battens on the ceiling where you have strips of wood. And you said that you really wanted the lights to be centered in those panels.
Yeah.
Because some of my lights were going to be off-centered, so it would be like close to a batten and look, in the panel it would look off-center. It worked. It would have worked maybe better for the lighting design of the room, but it would look bad when you look at the ceiling. So you said center everything up, right?
That was a priority for me.
Yeah. So that's some of the changes that we made yesterday, was just adjusting where the lights were going to be in the ceiling and fine-tuning it with these mounting frames. So I got this half of the house all tidied up and ready. I think I'm happy with those. But now over here, I'm completely redoing this. In fact, yesterday, I had all the lights here and I moved them over. I decided that it just didn't make sense. I was going for a balanced approach, and I was thinking too much in lines of like, oh, everything has to be lined up perfectly with this and this. but it wasn't making sense for the lighting load of the room, so I changed my approach, moved all the lights down. So every light bay, we have 3 lights here, just shifted over into one bay and moved all the lighting down this end. So it actually took a lot of work. We pulled out all the wiring that was up here because all the wiring was coming here, and now I need them over here. So took it all down, and then I got a brilliant idea. Instead of struggling to staple the wires to these chintzy little trusses, and the wood on those trusses is so hard that I'm having trouble stapling, the staples aren't going in all the way. So I decided to install this running board, whatever this is called, this strip of wood as a raceway or like a place for the wires to staple to so that they're fully secured and protected, and I can drop them down right to each light box. So before I just had the wires stapled right to the face of these and kind of just dangling. I'm gonna run them right here now, and it's gonna make it better because I can staple the wires closer to the electric boxes so they're secure going right down in. So I did that one yesterday, but I need to continue it down this way from here all the way down to that other light, just so I know it's a lot of work for one wire, but that's what I want to do. So we'll put this up here just like this, continue this board on. We're going to do this job right. We're not cheaping out. This wood right here was imported all the way from New Zealand just for this job right here. To find its way into our mobile home ceiling. Imagine that. It's not bad. Is that one right there?
I don't know what you're doing, but I hope it comes out good.
You talking to me or Belle?
No, just no opening for the cat. A wall on that side of us. Cat scratch.
Try to get this nice and straight again.
People.
I can even put extra staples in now, even if I don't need them. So even though I had to reroute my wire, I still have enough to do my job. So that's good, no wasted wire. You can see a little trick that I do. When doing wiring, find a tool that you use commonly. Like I like to use these wire strippers when I do my Romex. And I know that these strippers are 8 inches long. That's how long they are from tip to handle. I know that you need 7 inches of exposed wire inside your electrical boxes typically. So I know if I strip my wire as long as this tool, I'm always gonna have 8 inches of wire and I'll be well within range. Even if I have to straighten up the ends or do any little adjustments, I'll have my 7 inches. So that's why you'll often see me hold my wire next to my strippers and then I strip. And that's how I measure. The most common thing I see people do on YouTube when I watch videos of wiring is they're cutting their weight wires like 4 inches long, and it's hard to watch. Well, I just finished up this little run of lighting and it looks really good. The wiring's nice and neat. Look how tidy it is. I like it. Looks good. Yesterday while I was here, I actually got the electrical run to this and that's all finished and tidied up, so that's secure. And I feel good about everything. We really upgraded this installation, doing it proper for new work instead of old work like we were gonna do, which wasn't really the best way to do it and also not allowed in some places. But this I really loved. My favorite addition is that piece of wood right there. I was able to staple the wires neatly, securely, and in the right location. It also stiffened up the trusses. It's gonna give strength to them. Some of these boxes will stay old work boxes just depending on what I'm doing, but it's not a big deal because, for example, smoke alarm. Smoke alarms are never gonna be heavy. They're never gonna have a problem being in an old work box. So that's the smoke. And bedroom lights. In the bedrooms, I could have gotten away with more of these recessed lightings and it'd probably look really cool and modern. But I kind of like having some decorative lights just as an accent. You come in, you see something pretty. Even if it doesn't give the best lighting, I think I'd rather have it in those cozy places to create mood, and you come in, you see something nice. So we're gonna stick with regular ceiling lights in the bedrooms, over the dining room table, and maybe over the back door. Right here over the back door is actually where I'm tying in all the smoke alarms. So they're gonna be running off this light circuit. Because of that, I didn't want to use a recessed lighting because I want to make sure I have enough room in the box to do the proper connections to the smoke alarms and to the light fixtures. So I'm gonna do a regular light there just for the extra wiring space. I think it's a really wise idea to tie the smoke alarm system into a lighting circuit, especially one that you'll use often like this one by the back door, because that way you'll know if the breaker ever tripped that the power's out, and that means it's out to your alarms. Just for extra safety. They do have battery backup, but you know.
The cat is laying on me and I'm having fun. And I'm comfy too. It's so nice.
Wow, you guys look cozy. Well guys, we made it home. Upgrades made at the mobile home today, and I'm really happy with it. I think I'll sleep easier now, knowing that I feel that it's better. I have this thing where I literally come home and I don't take a break from it. I will dwell all night long looking at the plans, just staring at it, looking at ceiling lights, shopping, thinking, brainstorming, saying, how should this look? And I spend entirely too much time on it.
It's like constant.
But you know, when something bothers me or something doesn't feel right, that's how I am. And if I fix it, then I'm at ease. And now I think I'll be at ease for a little while. I'm still not convinced on some of the lights, but I think they'll be good.
They're good enough. I'm always saying it's good enough. Leave it alone.
So we have to go to the store and pick up a few more 2x4s because there's actually some ceiling framing that has to be done before the insulation goes in.
Some nailers.
Very minor stuff. Once those are in, we are ready for installation, which should be coming this month. If it's on schedule, they say the mid-month, like 14th or so. So that's what we're working towards. That's what we need, because I'll tell you, even working today, it was unbelievably warm standing on the scaffold. The house is fine. Yep. Totally cool. But then when you get up there, the ceiling is super hot, like over 100 degrees, and it's just hot. So I'm looking forward to getting that insulated. We're working this project in a kind of odd fashion. We're building it as if it's a mobile home. Yeah. Because it is, but we don't have to do that. But what I mean is, we're actually going to be installing the entire ceiling first and then framing the interior walls.
Yep.
This is something I don't think we've touched on yet, and I think it'll help you guys make more sense of why we're running wiring and kind of jumping
in the
ahead.
ceiling, but not doing the walls
And not even framing the walls, which seems so easy right now.
yeah.
Typically in a house, you do all your framing first and then you'd run all your power. The reason we're doing it different is because I like the idea of, first of all, there's no walls in the way right now. It's wide open. It's going to make installing the ceiling so much more easy and quick. It'll be really efficient because we can
We can put up the whole ceiling up without having to, cut it around all the walls and bring it in each room and all that stuff.
basically whole pieces put in place, and we can use our scaffold to roll throughout the house without anything in our way. And we can get the entire house ceiling done. It'll cut the heat down, and then we can build walls wherever we want.
It's going to make it
done.
so much easier later.
Yeah. Now, if we built all the interior framing right now, we would have to add a bunch of blocking and nailers around every wall so that the ceilings can hook on next to the wall.
Yeah.
And instead of the way we're going to do it now, it's just going to span from one joist, one ceiling truss to the other.
And that also means less waste.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more efficient because instead of cutting a bunch of odd corners and cuts and have to throw away pieces, we can just use whole sheets.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
And picture like installing a ceiling inside closets, inside the bathroom, around
Ew.
corners. There's a lot of cuts. And the less cuts that we make, the more air sealed our ceiling is, which means the house is going to be more efficient. That we're going to lose less heat. We're going to have less moisture problems in the attic. It'll just be better. It'll be a nice, clean, efficient house. And you don't often get to build this way, but because it's a mobile home, because the entire structure can be open like this without interior walls, it makes it possible, so we're going to do it. And so that's why we're working out of order, because we're going to do the ceiling first. We're working toward that being done this month. Ceiling finished. As
Yeah.
soon as that installation comes, we're getting the ceiling done.
Yeah.
So that's our goal for the month. Ceiling's in. Then we're going to get into framing, layout. We'll share the layout of the house and work through all that. Wiring, plumbing, and all that all over again. But I guess that's all we have for now. So thanks for watching. And until next time, take care.
Bye.